gon' tune in cause the showtime. Go ahead and call the gang up for the one time. Rap food rhyme, got them on the line. And my life's still great, I'm doing just fine. Hands up.
Let's get into it. We don't have a lot of topics today.
It's been pretty
As you guys know, summer is showcase season, so we have to talk about these showcases that have went down in the past couple weeks. I want to start with Apple's WWDC 2023 Showcase. We got a lot of new features coming for iOS 17. We got some new hardware coming. They premiered a new MacBook, new Mac computer, new chips for it. And then we'll get to this in a minute, but the biggest thing that came out of it was the Apple Vision Pro headset. But I do want to backtrack a little bit before we touch on that. Was there anything other than the headset that caught you guys' attention at the showcase?
As an Android user, no. That Vision Pro is all I'm here for.
I'm done. I don't think anything really stood out as a long thing, but if I would have to pick, it would probably be the live voicemail. I said that's been around before on landline phones, so
I thought it was, as far as Apple innovation, I thought the live voicemail thing was dope because it's because the phone app, out of everything that they've updated, the phone app always stays the same. So the big thing that I saw as far as the iOS 17 updates is that they're adding some big improvements to the phone app itself. And the live voicemail thing was one of it. And I thought it was pretty dope because you could actually see the voicemail on your lock screen without having to unlock your phone, go to the phone app, go to the voicemails tab, and then see the transcribed voicemail.
Yeah.
So having it right there on the lock screen when somebody leaves you a voicemail, I thought it was pretty cool. The other iOS 17 things that popped out to me, the contact poster, it stood out to me because I could already see this being funny as hell. So the contact poster thing is you setting your contact photo for when you call somebody, not them setting it for you. You set it. So when you call somebody, what you want pops up on their phone. And I could already see this being funny as hell.
That could get really bad. That could get really bad.
Exactly.
A lot of,
can you block
it? Look at it.
Block the contact photo, or block
like,
the
can
number?
you make it to where even if someone sets their own photo, you don't receive that?
So I don't know. I think what Ryan is trying to get at is like the explicit stuff that folks be trying to add, maybe in their pictures.
Like, I don't want to be in the middle of church and like somebody want to be a little funny that day, and now I got genitalia popping up on my phone during the sermon. Like that's why. Can I block that?
That's understandable.
I don't. So when I read it, I didn't see anything about users can opt out. Like, if I don't want to see your contact photo, I don't have to. I'm pretty. I won't say pretty sure. I am going to be optimistic and hope that there is something in place that you can shut this off, that you can opt out of it. Just because of stuff like that. That's the exact example that you gave, Ron, is the reason why, to me, contact photos would be funny as hell, because y'all play too much for stuff like that.
Also, I want to know, does it have to be a person who's your contact? So, like, if I call you, like, if I get me a new iPhone and I just call you from my random iPhone, set my contact, but you're not saved in it, you ain't got my iPhone number saved, will my photo still pop up, or is it just for people you got saved as contacts?
That I don't know either. I assume that, I don't know how it's going to work for people who are not saved. It also could be possible that they show up the number and then the contact photo. So it's like if Ralph got a new number and I don't recognize Ralph's number, but his contact photo pops up and I was like, oh, this is Ralph. He probably has a new number.
But then that could be misleading too. What if I'm just prank calling you and I send it to Ralph's image? You know what I mean?
It's the same conversation that we had last year with the editing text message stuff. Like it's always a risk with these new updates.
I don't know,
just
Apple.
be going to the extreme.
But you got to think with the extreme. Millions of Apple users are out there.
Yeah, you're right.
I wonder if it's connected to that Apple profile thing. So Ralph, when somebody texts you from a new number and then the little bar thing comes up with like their Apple name, like that default picture that they set in their Apple name, and you can click on it and save their number. I wonder if it's connected to that.
Potentially.
And it's like, this is not something that you could, it's something that's attached to like your Apple profile. So whatever you set up there, that's what controls the contact poster.
I could see that. I could see it. I don't. The
Because
thing is, Apple never really gives a whole bunch of detail behind what goes on. They just give us enough to kind of get excited for and kind of question, start to third things up. Pretty much what we're doing now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be interesting.
And you know what though? We got to shout out Apple. Apple really controls their marketing to the utmost extreme. Like,
yeah.
Like, one thing about Apple, I was watching a deep dive video, and it was referring to WWDC, and it was talking about how when Apple markets, there are certain terms they don't use. Like at WWDC, they don't use AI as a term. They don't use AR, VR. They don't use terminology like that because they don't even want you to connect their devices to that. They use spatial technology. They say spatial computing and all these different terms.
Machine learning.
Knowing that the regular person don't know what that is, and anybody in tech knows what that is, but the regular person, which are the people buying iPhones, they're going to be like, "Oh my gosh, so pristine." But I'm like, some of this stuff is problematic. Some of this stuff got issues.
They definitely like the way that they visualize the contact photo. It seemed really fun. Like, ooh, I could set my photo. Like, I want my photo to be real cute so people can see me and they'd be like, oh, look at this cute picture of food calling me. But then the conversation that we just had, like, this could go left. Like, real, like go left.
Like, y'all too optimistic about how people act. Have y'all not been on social media? Like, what?
I think there's always a risk with like technical updates, but I could only hope that this, as lighthearted as they promoted it, is as lighthearted as the masses would use it. You are going to have a few bad apples that are going to take advantage of it, but I hope the masses see it as lighthearted and fun as they promoted it.
I feel like there should be like two accessibility options. One, whether or not you want to receive it in general or not. And if you want to receive it in general, do you want to pick out the specific people you can receive it from? Like, if I connect this to, like, if Ralph calls me and like all y'all stuff is connected to an Apple ID, correct? Like past your phone numbers, everything's connected to an Apple ID. Anything from this Apple ID can show me their picture, but that's it. You know what I mean? Like, hopefully there's some features like that.
I am being optimistic to hope that there is an opt-in, opt-out feature with this. They also said that anything that they detect as spam calls will not be able to do that, do the contact photo thing.
Fair.
So they did mention that.
Because the spam caller going to be like, oh, this is Amazon telling you that someone used your bank card. Give us your bank card information so that we can check.
Or even if we want to go into like phishing attacks, and it's a different name for when you do it over the phone. Phishing is email, but as a scammer or, whatever, I go on your Instagram, I screenshot a picture of your closest friend and call you from a random number. You seeing your friend on the contact photo, you just pick it up,
Girl, I got a new Cash App. Send me about $50 to this specific Cash App.
Right.
So I'm just, I'm hoping that there are opt-in, opt-out features, and the fact that they mentioned spam calls specifically, I'm hoping that they're boosting whatever algorithm that they have to decide what's a spam call and what's not a spam call. I hope that's like beefed up for anybody who tries to abuse it.
Yeah. It is
Security
interesting.
got to
That's
be on
interesting.
point.
Yes, security it has to be on point.
And they can use some AI to make sure that people don't put like really graphic images as their pictures. Like they could integrate that if they wanted to.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Other thing I saw that was pretty cool, but not like groundbreaking stuff. The offline maps feature seemed pretty cool.
I did like that because there's definitely some dead zones.
Yeah.
And
it was like you can preset, like you could set your spot and save your location that you want to go to, and then as you're driving, like what Ralph was saying, you end up in a dead zone or something like that, you don't lose that GPS connection.
I'm not going to be the Android user that says we already had that, but I do want to ask, do Apple users mostly use Apple Maps? Because a lot of the Apple users I've met typically use Google Maps. Like, do y'all prefer Apple Maps?
I don't use Apple Maps because I haven't used Apple Maps in a long time, because the first time I used Apple Maps, it didn't take me where I wanted to go. So I was like, okay.
She said, "You one and done, one time too many."
Yeah, one job.
So I usually use Google Maps, but I have rode with some people who use Apple Maps, and I can tell there's been some improvements to the application versus when I used it and decided, nah, I'm not using Apple Maps. So
same for you, Ralph, or you kind of like in between?
I use Apple Maps pretty much a good 90% of the time. The only time I really use Google Maps is when we're all on a trip together or something like that. Just to kind of keep up with everybody.
Because you can do that location. You remember that location thing we did at DreamCon?
Yeah, that was smart. Actually, we gotta do that again. Because I think I got lost from y'all and I had to track y'all.
You did,
yeah.
But I mean, Apple has really came a long way with their maps. Like now, you can set markers for. Say you see a police officer sitting somewhere, and you can set a marker for it, and it will let other Apple Map users know that you're coming up on a speed trap or something like that. Or say, for instance, like they got a lot better with their direction and stuff too.
I hate to be Ryan. I hate to be Ryan.
I know.
Google
say it, fool. Say it with your chest.
Can I finish my thought?
Say it from the diaphragm. Say it from the diaphragm, fool. Push it out.
But to Ralph's point is that some of these common features that should be included, Apple is getting there. Because even the step away from the maps, now with FaceTime, where you can send audio or video messages to somebody don't answer the phone, we already know Duo had it. But it's just one of those things that, okay, y'all are taking in this common sense stuff and adding it to the apps. So
Duo's called Google Meet forward. Now, by the way.
Yeah, it's Google Meet.
They be changing all day stuff.
Look.
New logo, everything.
I know, because I was looking for the Duo call thing and realized it was the Google Meet button, and I was like, sure.
It's because it kind of like Apple. They just want it all to be colorful, look like an image with the rainbow interlocked into it.
I think it's because they want to switch. Because was Duo always owned by Google, or did Google buy Duo?
Yeah, Duo is Google software, but deep dive. Google goes through. Will have the same app modified and change the name, because it used to be Hangouts. Hangouts used to be what Kik was, but Hangouts had a video chat feature. Then they made Google Messages and Google Duo, which were separate. But then they came out with Google Voice. Duo modified became Google Meet, and you still got like Google Messages somewhere, but it's just called Messages, and you got a green one and you got a blue one. They will kill projects, update projects, and make new projects, and they're kind of slow to like update you on it all, like tell you about it and let you know what's really going on.
Okay.
especially since I got Samsung. So like, Pixel phone will probably have all of the updates first, and you can see it as it changes. While Samsung, we gotta kind of get it a few days later, and then the colors will change. We don't really know what's going on.
Okay.
But the big talk of WWDC was the Apple Vision Pro. And
Hey,
we had a lot of boos, we had some yays, and it was some people like, why is it this high?
I think because when I watched the video, when I watched the video that laid out everything that you could do with it, all of and even when they went into the design, like it's 2 chips in that MFR. They had to build something for the resolution. It's just like when they really broke it down, I was like, I get it, because the amount
Cameras at the bottom, cameras on the inside tracking your eyes, cameras at the top,
right,
cameras on the outside, all of that.
and when you put it in perspective of the stuff that you would have to buy physically to replicate that, could equal, if not more, than the price of the headset. So I was like, $3,500 is a lot, but to me it made sense when they broke it down of like all the things that you can do with it, all the features, all the tech, the processing, everything that went behind it. I was like, okay, it makes sense.
All right.
Also, another thing about Apple that people forget, because you can finance an iPhone for 2 years, Apple is not meant for the average consumer. Like, this ain't to bring like classism and all that other stuff in there. Apple is really marketed towards like upper class people. Like, everything they make that has Pro is not meant for a regular person. Like the Mac Tower PC, that's not meant for a regular PC connoisseur. That's meant for people working at Disney and Hulu and Paramount to make 3D videos and do their video editing with 4K, 8K cameras. That was meant for them. This VR, it's actually an altered reality helmet, spatial tech. This isn't meant for a regular person. This ain't meant for no college student. This ain't meant for somebody working our jobs. This is meant for a random millionaire who wants it to relax.
And when you said that, when they got to the part of the video where it was screen right here, screen right here, screen right here, and people clicking it, like, and all I saw in my head was Tony Stark, and I was like,
exactly. Like, no controllers. Like, you can, like, I watched a test video, and like literally you're doing this to like drag and drop, plus press a button, and because they're tracking your eyes, they know exactly what you're looking at. You look to the left at your text messages, click, and you clicked on the exact one you was looking at. Did
you see the FaceTime thing? So basically, when you do FaceTime, you're supposed to take the helmet off, and they have some type of machine learning thing that scans your face. So then when you put the helmet on and you do FaceTime, the people on FaceTime see your actual face. They don't see you with a headset on, and they're using machine learning to like track your reactions and all that other stuff. And I was like, yo.
And the images you're seeing is like 4K. So when you're sitting up in there and you can basically make it to where you're looking at a 32-inch TV screen in front of you, or a big screen like a movie theater, 4K, and somehow they condensed it so your eyes can recognize all of that.
And the sound, the way that they are porting, man,
that's not for the average consumer. That's not.
That's what I was saying. Like, the amount of money that you would have to spend replicating it using computers, monitors, cameras, lighting, headphones, all of that. By the time you finish buying all of it, you probably have already paid for the Vision Pro, if not more.
Yeah. And then even with the dial, because it's technically not a VR helmet, but how the dial on the side makes it to where you can fully immerse yourself into what you're seeing. Because originally it's like you got a cutout, and now you can be like, oh, I'm in the mountains, or I'm in an office, because I turned the dial to fully maximize what I'm seeing. That is some high-end technology, bro.
They said they use spatial something to recognize certain objects, like basically to like get a layout of your area just so they can fully immerse whatever content you're watching, to fully immerse you in it, to make you feel like you're actually there. Like, there is some high level hardware behind this headset.
Like, it's almost unfair to call it a headset. It is a mobile PC on your face, and
Basically,
it's not a cell phone plugged into your face like with the phones where you put them into the AR helmets. No, way more intense than that.
like, it come with its own battery and everything. And did you see the part about with the MacBook? Like, they had a part where the girl was at a hotel. Like, the way that they marketed it was top tier, because she was like the way they set it up, like she was at a hotel, like preparing for a conference or something. So she had like the presentation right here, some notes right here, 2 people on her team on FaceTime right here, and I was like, yeah. And then they had the part where she had sat down on the hotel bed and she was on her MacBook, and the headset automatically connected to the MacBook, and the screen blacked out on the MacBook and then just came up like the way that you would see it if you were using the Vision Pro. And I was like, yo.
Now, question. So the thing that was hooked on their right side, is that the battery pack?
Yeah, it dangles
No,
from your
the
thing that had the cord hanging from it.
Yeah, it was a cord hanging to it.
Yeah,
that's the battery pack.
I thought
like
you
if
were talking about the dial.
Yeah, like if you walk away and you have the battery pack plugged in, I think it lasts like 2 hours.
Yeah, so you have to have the battery pack in your pocket. You got to walk around with that joint. Like, if you doing like anything physical, like the example I said with the girl walking around, having all her pictures and photos and stuff like that, that would be something you would have to have in your pocket. But like, if the other example, like if you were sitting down watching a movie, they also show like playing games and stuff like that, you could probably have it plugged up in a stationary spot and do your business.
I don't know. I mean, they do have competitors now. They got the Quest 2 Pro. They got the PlayStation VR 2. They got the HP Reverb G2 and the HTC Vive Pro 2.
I would say one thing that they have, at least for me, on the Oculus, is the back part of the VR Pro looks like it'll be extremely comfortable if you had to keep it on for a long amount of time. Because the way that Oculus is set up, like after a certain point, it doesn't feel really comfortable like around your head once you keep it on for a long time.
And I would argue, technically those aren't their competitors in a sense that they're not trying to take their audience. The Oculus audience, the PlayStation VR audience, Apple ain't targeting them. They going for the millionaires who just want a high end, because like it has a lot of features, but casually, even the people who can't afford this, what are they really going to use it for? Probably just to enjoy a movie, take pictures. They might play some video games with it just to say I got it. Like it's really a trial in my opinion.
I think they're really going for people who like. I think they're really going for like business execs, like that specific example that I keep referring to. I really think that they're going for like business execs that travel a lot, have to like collaborate with a whole bunch of people. Like, how can I do this on the fly? How can I do this without having 16 laptops or 18 tabs open at the same time?
But still, they still showed 2K, which is a popular game. One of probably the popular games that people will play and go to, which is pretty much the same every year.
But the people who play 2K on a regular basis can't afford it. That's what I'm like, and that's not attacking them, but like the guys who are in college playing 2K, Apple's not marketing this to them. They're marketing it to probably the eccentric business executive who might play 2K for like an hour a week because he always on a plane somewhere, going somewhere, doing something.
Or the content creators that actually make the content that people watch.
I wanted to bring that up. Like, I was seeing the way that it was set up. I was seeing it from like a content creator perspective. Like, that would be really dope for them. Like, you have your game right here. based on the machine learning thing, like people watching you is not gonna see you with this headset on. They just gonna see your face. You got your comments coming in right here. You can have your social media up right here. And I was like, that would be a dope setup for a
The ma-
streamer.
Yeah.
The
All
major
they was
ones
missing was
definitely.
showing how Twitch
Yeah.
would look. Really, that's all they was missing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's interesting though because they didn't really tackle the science, because I think when Microsoft announced the HoloLens, they was talking about like the ambitions for it, where like once the technology matures, surgeons can use this and essentially have a device on their face like saying, oh, this blood vessel connects to this portion of the brain is this part, this is the error, it shouldn't look like this, we're doing a heart surgery, this is a separation from an artery to a vein, and all that different stuff.
Right.
I'm surprised they didn't go into that.
But I think it just goes back to your point that Apple targets a specific
Yeah.
group of people. Like
Mhm.
I think you said this one time, the last time we had an Apple conversation, is that Apple is I forgot what kind of company you called it.
Luxury brand.
It wasn't luxury, it was something specific. I don't want to call it entertainment, but it was something along the lines of that they're not really in it to like push technology into like, oh, look what we can do in the medical field. Look what we could do in this field. This is more so look
Yeah.
of how you can consume your entertainment in a different type
Right.
way.
Yeah, they don't present themselves in that way. Like this is, I want the most luxurious high end form of entertainment, and that's Apple.
Right.
That's
Right.
Apple.
Right.
In some cases, you can't. It's functional. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, high end luxury entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
I would buy it if I could. Don't get me wrong. If I could afford this, I'll be trying to be
Hey,
in
I
Ready
would-
Player One.
I would
I'm
never buy
done.
I would never buy a TV again.
Never, never, bro.
And the other part of it that I thought was really cool is that one thing I noticed with the Oculus, like once you put it on and they put you in that little meta area, if there's somebody talking to you, you can't see them. Like they're not in the space with you. The first thing that they showed with the Vision Pro is like, yeah, I'm in my spatial whatever with my
Right.
screen and my apps. But if Ryan walks up to me like this, I can turn to Ryan, clearly see Ryan in my space. We having a conversation, but I still have my screen. I don't have to exit out of that space to talk to him.
You're Tony Stark. You literally become Tony Stark with Jarvis.
Basically.
Now, since y'all are saying y'all would buy it, what if Apple decides to make it leasable? Like you can pretty much do monthly payments with Afterpay or something.
I mean, you
along those
can.
lines.
I mean, you can do that now. They
That's-
already
yeah.
have them at Afterpay thing.
That's why they
Oh,
created the Apple credit card. That's why.
There it
That's
goes.
why it was created.
They already got it. Like it was, I don't know, I forgot what they're calling it, but Ryan's exactly right. Like if you get an Apple card, you can buy Apple products and pay monthly payments on it.
Yeah. That's a 2-year, $150 a month plan, which is financially why I wouldn't recommend regular people getting it, because that just traps you in debt and some other stuff. But this is not a financial advice platform. But you could get away with doing that, and that's exactly what's going to happen. There's going to be a couple of college students who does the same ones who get the first pair of sneakers that drop, who are going to be walking around this and they're paying it off. You're going to see a few, just a couple.
Yeah.
Is it going to be me though?
No. I think
No.
the fact that they debuted the Apple Afterpay feature first and then was like, hey,
There we go.
VR Pro 3500, but look what you but you don't have to buy it all in one payment.
Control
You
and
can break it
marketing.
down.
You getting it? It's all connected. Apple is real smart. I don't like them, but hats off to them. Amazing company with some amazing marketing.
Yeah, the way they market some of this stuff is just that video for that Vision Pro. Because when I first saw it, and I was like, $3,500, you must have lost your goddamn mind. But then I watched the video.
And now you're like, $3,500 ain't that bad.
But then I watched the video.
There you go.
But I was like, but then like once I watched the video, I was like, I get it. Because like by the time that you buy everything to replicate what's going into this headset, you're gonna pay about the same amount.
So I got a question for y'all. What's the future for this looking like? Like, this is stuff that people, scientists, movie buffs, conspiracy theorists predicted years ago. Years ago. TVs on your face and blah, 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 blah. We started getting that like 6 years ago. Google tried creating the Google glasses. We still got Snapchat glasses. What's it going to look like when this Apple Vision Pro, when Google, Dell, Microsoft, they start making consumer-friendly versions? Or in 10 years when the chips get small enough and the cameras get small enough, and now they look like regular glasses like yours were on right now, Food. And the cameras are built into the screen. What's that going to look like? We living in Wall-E. You said what, Ralph?
We're gonna have a chip in our head by the time we
Elon's
realize.
already creating that. Already creating that.
He don't have no good test behind it though. I don't understand how that even got approved based on the test results.
Money got it approved.
Influence, grants.
I would say just because of that, I see the future of this. If they don't vet, like when you brought up the consumer friendly part of it, like if they don't really look into and vet these consumer friendly versions that could come out in the future, we might see some issues.
Yeah, I could definitely see
because you have to look at the cybersecurity part of it. Like, what's these consumer friendly, or even with the I don't really see. I could see Apple, but I kind of don't. I could see like the consumer friendly version. Like, how easy is it going to be to hack into these headsets?
Apple is decently good with their security to where I wouldn't be upset.
That's what I was saying. Like, I don't see it happening with Apple, but then if we get down into Google, we get down into Dell. Like, we already know the cybersecurity risk when it comes to just the computers, the operating systems, everything like that. Like, how does that play into the headset?
It's going to be like Cyberpunk. Once you got the built-in robotic eyes and everything, someone's going to look at you and they're net runner and they're going to hack into your stuff. You got on your helmet and you're like, "Who is this in my peripherals? Can I take it off?" Now sealed. You're stuck.
Now, I think to step back from the Blerds standpoint and go into a technical standpoint, I feel like they're just going to create their own coding language for it. If it comes down to security being that big of an issue, they're just going to create their coding language, just like Apple did. They created their own coding language, specifically catered to their own devices. That's true. They haven't really had many cybersecurity issues since they did that.
And Google and Amazon have fixed some of their stuff. Like, remember when they was hacking to folks' Alexas and stuff? That was some years ago. Oh, I'm not talking to you, Google. Stop. Like, no, because I just see her. She's still typing. Like, she's still typing. Like, actively record.
I had to make sure mine ain't cut on.
I should just say, but she gonna keep going. But Amazon fixed their stuff to where it couldn't get hacked. Google stuff never really had any major incidents. My whole thing is what's going to happen when all this stuff is so super connected. Like, what's going to happen when this Apple headset 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line gets more polished, and you got your Apple Watch in front of it, so you pull up your watch while you got the headset, then those screens pop up. Or you got your phone, and then that screen slides over like Jarvis and all this other stuff because they're so interconnected. That's going to be dope, bro. The Apple TVs and everything.
It's been small instances of things getting done like that. Like, I don't know if you guys seen the restaurants that are testing out augmented reality as far as ordering your food. You get to see it in person of how it looks before you actually get it. I know it's been at least 10 years, but I don't know if you guys remember the keyboards that you could actually type on your desk. It was just like, a projected screen of a keyboard.
Yeah.
It's pretty much going to be a mix of both of those.
Yeah, man.
So we've been coming down the line, getting closer to it.
And we got about 10 years before they try to make it real tiny. 15 to 20 before they're as tiny as Fuchs glasses right now.
Yeah.
And because we already got cameras behind phone screens and everything, and a Galaxy's integrated in that. Give it a few more years. Just a few more years. We're gonna be alive for it.
Them chips big as hell. So they got a couple years before they can make them joints smaller.
I'll say 15 to 20 before they about the time
then
you
it's
the
two
glasses.
of them. So the first in it, it's 2 chips. The first thing they got to do is how do we make this one chip?
Yeah,
that's the first thing they got to do.
That's gonna take like 5 to 8 years.
They got to take the 2 chips and turn it into one. The second thing is, okay, how do we make the chip smaller, but keep the same processing and power running?
Right.
Like they still got some things to work on before they ever look like this. Before I ever put some Ray-Bans on my face and be Tony Stark for real.
I mean, Snapchat already making its way slowly but surely, and I think it was another company that had some glasses.
Yeah, I've seen the Snapchat glasses, but they're thick though.
I could see it to where the frame is like no thicker than my OtterBox phone. Like it'll be about that thick, and it's gonna look kind of goofy, and it's just gonna be like some thick black frames. I could see that happening in like 10 to 12 years.
Yeah.
They're not gonna look cool. They're gonna look real goofy. They might not even go over your nose right. Like that nose bridge might be thick and rectangular, but that's progress.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm interested to see. I'm very interested to see the consumer-friendly versions of the Pro.
Donate to that Ko-fi link so the Blerd mob can get some Apple Vision Pro, you guys. Link below.
Man, we will tell you firsthand how this turned out. We'll stream it. We'll stream it.
Third person, first person view, all of that.
We'll stream it. 3,500. Link in the bio.
Video games, bro, movie experiences, they finna go crazy when people.
The movie, the video game part of the trailer wasn't that convincing to me. It wasn't. But that movie, the demonstration of like the movie, they had me. They had
making
me
the screen as big as you want.
As you want. Actually feeling like you're in the movie. The lighting changing based on the environment, like that sold me.
It's going to be crazy.
Okay.
I honestly don't. I won't say I honestly don't think. I feel like going back to Ralph's point, I think they should have picked a different game than 2K to demonstrate that you can play games on it.
They had to pick something neutral, but I know we're gonna get into like games later, but like that Assassin's Creed Nexus thing where they show like 3 like virtual reality Assassin's Creed, if they picked a game like that or something, since Ubisoft is a multi-platform and you ain't necessarily picking a side between Sony and Microsoft, I think that would have been really cool to see what that would look like.
I think they should have picked something other than 2K. Because I was like, I don't really play 2K. I mean, it's cool I can play games on it, but 2K didn't really say, ooh, games.
It's a popular game. It's sports. Call of Duty's violent.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. If we want to put it into perspective, yes, 2K is the safest choice out of games you could have put in this marketing video.
The only other thing could have been like Fortnite, but Fortnite's everywhere. Everybody markets Fortnite as their like virtual reality or high-end tech thing.
Yeah. I feel you. I'm not mad that they put 2K. It was just like, for me, I was like, okay, sure. But
she said, y'all couldn't do the Arkham Knight? Like, come on now.
Shit, Spider-Man. Like, come on.
Hey, ooh. Virtual reality Spider-Man swinging.
Like you could have just shown 15 seconds of Miles or Peter swinging across New York, and that would have been it for me. that would have been it for me. Like, you don't have to show them fighting, you don't have to show the enemies, you don't have to show none of that. Just
none of that.
Seeing them whip across New York.
Now. That down payment right now.
For real, $400 down payment. I don't even want the monthly to be $150. Drop it to $125. Facts.
Yeah, he got
So
it on
He should be a
his.
Lin Kuei.
He has the Lin Kuei
So if he's Lin
badge
Kuei,
on
I
his
also want to know
uniform.
about the other Lin Kuei assassins. Like, what about Smoke? Are Sector and Cyrax, are they gonna be robots this time around? Are they gonna be
Cyrax,
in their
yeah.
original bodies?